actually, if it's okay with you, Seth, I will give my protocol that I've now treated about 300 patients. I've not had a single one end up in the hospital. Some of them have been very, very sick. There were a couple that I was on my face pleading with God to keep well and keep out of the hospital. One of the ladies, she was morbidly obese. She had diabetes, high blood pressure, congestive heart failure, and asthma as well. Her oxygen saturations were in the 80s. She was already into COVID 9 days before they reached out to me. And so we were a little bit behind the 8 ball. And I just want to encourage all of our viewers and listening audience, if you get symptoms, get early treatment. And I mean, even before your test is necessarily positive. I've seen this over and over again, where the viral load, just for one reason or another, is not high enough and the tests are coming back negative. And so people are just kind of festering this virus, if you will, until finally the viral load gets high enough, and then all of a sudden we get a positive PCR or we get a positive rapid. So what I do right from the get-go, and by the way, that sweet lady, she did just fine. She actually went to the ER. She'd been on my protocol only for, at that point, it was only 36 hours. Her family felt very nervous. They finally wanted her to go into the ER. She went in and everything was fine. Her chest x-ray was clear. Praise the Lord, she was better within about 36 hours thereafter. She had a little bit of a weakness period afterwards, but she did great. And she and a couple others were my most serious cases. But so far, by God's grace, we've kept everyone out of the hospital. So what is my protocol? We'll start with the nutraceuticals. I've already mentioned vitamin D, 15 to 20,000 international units of vitamin D. I use 4,000 milligrams of vitamin C. There's a lot of information. The antioxidant effect of vitamin C is absolutely pivotal. So those two, even amongst those who strongly push the vaccine, almost everyone does agree, because the science is so very, very clear that one of the leading predictors of mortality is a very low vitamin D level. So pretty much everybody agrees that high vitamin D and vitamin C is beneficial. From there, 50 milligrams of zinc once a day. I also recommend N-acetylcysteine, or NAC, 500 milligrams 2 times a day, but that's only for 5 days. I really don't recommend it on a long-term basis. NAC is a wonderful, again, an antioxidant. It works very well. But again, in the long term, there is some associated concern that I have, not necessarily documented for sure risk, but I just don't think it's necessary in the long term. I also recommend quercetin. If you look at Dr. Peter McCullough's protocol, he has many of what we're talking about right now on his protocol that has worked to treat thousands upon thousands of people. And quercetin is on there. Quercetin, 500 milligrams 2 times a day while you're symptomatic. And then after symptomatic, you can go back to, after symptoms resolve, you can go back to once a day on the quercetin. It also is a great way to help your immune system to get functioning at a higher level. Then olive leaf extract. Well, olive leaf extract is actually there's actually been quite a number of studies that have been showing that it does appear to have a great benefit with SARS-CoV-2. So go to PubMed, don't take my word for it, take a look, type in olive leaf extract. It's 500 milligrams once to twice a day. And again, you can take that for 5 to 10 days. It's not going to hurt you if you take it in the long haul, but it will help your white blood cell count and improve overall function. Something that I am just recently discovered, again, as a Christian, I look at my duty as a physician very seriously. Not only as a physician did I take the Hippocratic oath to do no harm to patients, but I also took an oath, I believe, before God, to protect the vulnerable and to be constantly seeking ways that I can help improve the health of my patients and the community around me. And so when all of this, this confusion, if you will, was going on, it was just a few months ago, I was falling on my face. I'm like, Lord, I said, just tell me if there's got to be something else besides exercise and fresh air and sunshine and eating a healthy plant-based diet full of these amazing antioxidants, berries and fruits and vegetables. In addition to that, there's got to be something else. And so I was looking on PubMed and doing my own research, like we've been talking about. And I came across two mushroom products that I found fascinating. The one was AHCC, which is shiitake mushroom. Fascinating information. What they found was that if individuals who had high risk HPV, high risk human papillomavirus, took AHCC, 6 grams of it once a day for 6 to 8 months, they actually eradicated or got rid of high risk HPV. Well, high risk HPV, as a gynecologist, it's the #1 cause of cervical cancer. And cervical cancer is the 4th leading cause of cancer for women around the world. So this is a huge deal. When I read that, I'm like, oh my goodness, I didn't know this. This is amazing, because normally we think human papillomavirus, you get it, you've got high risk HPV. That's bad news. You've got to be followed all the time, et cetera, et cetera. It's going to come back. And it's just very, very concerning. I thought, that's fascinating. What it's doing, what the studies showed, is it increased natural killer cells. Natural killer cells are part of your innate immunity, meaning it's just your body doesn't have to learn anything. It just already knows it. And it goes, and those natural killer cells goes, and they see something foreign and they're like, chop, 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 and they go after it. Well, it's increasing those, but it also appeared to be increasing the white blood cell count and increasing their effectivity. And I thought, wow, now that's interesting. I wonder if this is going to have the same effect on SARS-CoV-2. Well, around this time, I also discovered there's another mushroom called turkey tail mushroom, and also taken in 6 grams per day. In Japan, it's one of the leading actual treatments for stage 4 breast cancer. Why? Because stage 4 breast cancer, these individuals are perhaps undergoing chemotherapy. Their white blood cell counts have dropped. Their bone marrow is not producing the white blood cells to fight the cancer or to fight off and prevent other infections. So what do they give these patients? Turkey tail mushroom, 6 grams of it. Why? It increases the white blood cell count, and it increases their effectivity, so that if they encounter, let's just say SARS-CoV-2 or some other thing that shouldn't be there, the white blood cells are more effective. And at that moment, I was like, God, I just know there's got to be a benefit for SARS-CoV-2. Now, mind you, again, I know we may be talking to those who don't necessarily have the same faith system, but I'm telling my personal testimony. This is my story. I was praying to God for more treatment options, more ways I can help my patients. I find these two amazing mushrooms out. No sooner had I thought in my head, I'll bet you anything this will help SARS-CoV-2. Bing, my phone goes off. An article pops up I get a regular notification on some of these, different magazines and those kinds of things. And the first line says, UCLA and UC San Diego are studying shiitake mushroom and turkey tail mushroom as a treatment for SARS-CoV-2. In fact, it has entered into clinical phase 1 trials. I was like, okay, this is the way to go. I have now treated numerous patients, myself included. I started to get symptoms. My daughter, my 11-year-old, came down with Omicron about 3 weeks ago. And I started to feel like, I'm getting a little sore throat, getting a little congested. I took my turkey tail and my AHCC, and I got better. So again, 6 grams per day, can't recommend it enough. Adding that to your regimen, it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful blessing.
Dr. Lela, I mean, we've got so much amazing information from you there. Thank you so much for sharing those protocols. If you're watching, we'll include a link in the description where you can go over all of the protocols that Dr. Lela's outlined. So don't worry if you didn't catch it. You can always rewind and go over it again. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, clicking the bell icon so you're notified whenever we upload.